Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. I saw already in the chat, many of you are cooking today, spending a little bit of time with your family, which is fantastic. So, good morning, Esther. Good morning, Wendy. Good morning, Stacy and Nancy and Cindy. Awesome. I'm super excited. Thank you for being here with me on Thanksgiving morning. As you know, we've been kind of like building up to a big announcement that we have coming today, which is very fitting since it is Thanksgiving. And I think just a wonderful day to feel grateful for all of the many blessings in our life and our family and our horses and our community. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today with me. I know it's busy. If you're watching this recording, of course, thank you as well. A couple of announcements before we get started. This is an entire week of gratefulness. So if you missed yesterday or the day before or Monday's lives, we've been doing a little live each day. And you can go back on the YouTube channel and watch those recordings as well. Then tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time, I'm going to be doing an independent seat webinar on Black Friday. So let me know in the chat if I will see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for the independent seat webinar. That one will also be on Zoom. If you'd like to join me on Zoom, please do that. And then I would love to know what your plans are for today. Let's see. I'm going to be here working for a couple more hours. I think as horse people, we're like always just working, taking care of our horses. Then I'm headed out to the barn to ride, and then we're going to dinner at my husband Herman's brother's house. I have some of the best Thanksgiving memories around riding. And one of my favorite Thanksgivings was I was working for Mindy Bauer. After I graduated from high school, I moved out there and I worked for her. She's Buck Brannaman's sister-in-law. And my whole family came and we went on this like giant trail ride together on Thanksgiving Day. And it was a pretty rare occasion, but my dad actually got on a horse and he went on the trail ride with us. So that's definitely one of my all-time favorite memories of Thanksgiving. And definitely as horse people, I think horses are such a way of your life. It's something that you do every day. And so even on the holidays, being able to spend that little bit of extra time with your horses or sharing that with your family in some way is very special. So let me know in the chat if you can think of any wonderful Thanksgiving memories that you have with your horses, and hopefully you'll be able to do some riding or some groundwork. I see some of you are doing groundwork. Awesome. But I always like to spend time at the holidays with my horses. Okay, so on to the announcement, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of the backstory and kind of how this has all come to be for the big announcement that we have coming at the end of today. So when I first started riding, I was in a wonderful lesson program with a trainer named Julie Behringer Richards, and there were a lot of kids in the program, and it was really fun. And my parents were always super supportive as much as they could be of my riding, but it was always something that I had to work for. Like I had to work to pay off my lessons. And I can still remember with Julie when I got good enough and I was one of the older kids that I started working for Julie, and I loved it. So I would help the smaller kids get the horse ready and teach them how to pick the hooves and teach them how to groom the horse. And we were always taught that that was something that was really important, was that you had to tack up your own horse and you had to really understand everything. It wasn't like you just got to the barn and your horse was perfectly ready for you. So I started working for Julie with helping with the little kids, getting the horses ready. And I can still remember how proud I was. We had this time card that we would fill out for the times that we were working. And then we'd get to add up all of our time, and then we'd be able to work off our lessons. So it was so cool because it was a way that I could contribute and help others and work a little bit to afford my lessons. And so that's really where it started with Julie. And then when I got a little bit older, again, my parents were super supportive, but I never had the fanciest horse and I never had all the right things. And I never had anything handed to me, which I think is really important. You know, there's that balance of having enough support, but also understanding the value of it and the commitment of it. And I remember my mom, she wanted my horse Achilles. He had to live out in the field. He didn't get to have a stall like the other horses because it was cheaper for him to live out in the field. And then my mother made it very clear to me. She was like, this is a commitment. You go to the barn every day, you take care of your horse. Otherwise, you don't have a horse. And so from an early age, like I loved it. I loved the horses. The passion for it was there. But I also was taught the commitment and that it was expensive and that I was encouraged to contribute to that. And for that, I'm super grateful. So then after, I guess it would be after high school, I got the opportunity to ride in a clinic with George Williams. It was a junior young rider clinic. And this was a pretty big turning point in my career, in my life, are these little opportunities that I was presented along the way. So I always got the difficult horses. I got the horses that no one else wanted to or no one else could ride. And so there was this horse named Samos who my trainer actually gave him to me to ride because he was naughty and he would just like throw his head up and refuse to turn left. And he was a pretty talented horse, but he was not so easy. So I show up at the George Williams clinic and everyone else, all the other young riders had like these perfectly trained, well-behaved horses that they were like getting ready to show. And I was on Samos and I could barely like steer around the arena. I was just praying that he behaved himself and kept all his feet on the ground. But it was a big deal. And it was, these young rider clinics are sponsored by the USDF, the United States Dressage Foundation. And it was a big honor and a big like thing to be invited to come to this clinic, especially because I didn't really feel like I totally belonged there. I didn't feel like I fit in. I don't know if any of you have ever felt like that, where you're like kind of outclassed a little bit. And I went to that clinic and George watched me ride around a little bit. And then he came and he was like, okay. And he quizzed me and he said, what is the training scale? What are the levels of the training scale? And I didn't know them. And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, you know, kind of like stumbling and trying to guess that, like, I don't know, rhythm and then relaxation. Like I didn't know it off the top of my head like I should have. And I just remember George, he was so kind to me in that clinic. And I think looking back now, he asked me that. Like he asked me about the training pyramid because he saw in me a rider that was ambitious and a rider that was determined and a rider that wasn't on the easiest horse. But I think we all know that those difficult horses make you better riders, right? Maybe some of you have had a horse that's challenged you or been difficult or not made you look good. And those are the horses that you learn the most from. So that clinic with George Williams was a big turning point. It was a big opportunity for me. And it was a little bit an acknowledgement from the community, like from USDF, that they saw me, right? And that they saw me out there, even though maybe I wasn't winning the blue ribbons, and that they wanted to give me that opportunity for a little bit more education. Another funny story I'll tell you, again, because I want to share this because I never felt like I totally fit in to like the dressage scene. I was always a little bit around the edges. And I think that really fits into what I do today with my mission of Dressage for All. So this is like a very embarrassing moment in my life. But I was working for this guy in Colorado named Vance Diggins. And Vance had like a ton of money and his barn was insane. Like it was so amazing. It had like this perfect indoor with like these like perfect watering system, like mirrors, the whole shebang. Like the barn was probably the fanciest barn in Colorado. And so I would go there and groom for Vance on the weekends. And he invited Stephen Peters to come and teach a clinic. And I got to ride in the clinic. And I was so excited. And then I don't remember what happened, but like our trailer broke, and then the back window of our pickup truck somehow got like exploded. So I show up at the Stephen Peters clinic, and they're out there in the outdoor, like Stephen is teaching, and we drive in and we have our truck with like tape on the window, like pink duct tape and a trash bag, like covering the back window. Right. And we have this trailer that's like totally rusted out. And I was like so embarrassed by the appearance of it, right? But again, I rode my horse Geronimo in the clinic, and it was such a huge opportunity. And just a reminder that if you are really passionate about it, and at the end of the day, if you love your horse and you're proud of your horse, and that some of that other stuff doesn't really matter so much, you don't always have to have the new truck or the perfect saddle pad. What really is the most important is the time that you spend with your horse, and the education and the partnership that you're building. And that's a value that I've certainly taken on from my childhood into what we do today. So then one of the biggest grants that I have received is a couple of years ago. I received a $25,000 grant from the Dressage Foundation for training my horse, Harvey. And it was at a time when Harvey was doing the small tour and we were moving up to the Grand Prix level. And I can still remember when I got this grant from the Dressage Foundation, because with the grant, I was able to go and train intensively with Jo Henneman. And Jo Henneman is a German master trainer. He's an incredible trainer. He's trained like 13 riders to the Olympics. And it was a huge opportunity for me to have that funding. And again, it was a little bit of the acknowledgement of from a big foundation, like, hey, Amelia, we see you. You're working really hard at this. You're kind of like bootstrapping everything together. I'm a little sick, so hopefully I don't lose my voice. And with that funding, I gained so much education from Henneman. I really learned about like how to develop the Piaffe Passage in a horse, and how to bridge that gap between the Prix St. George I1 and then going up into the Grand Prix. And that was a huge gift for me. So I'm kind of sharing like all these little stair steps along my journey, because I think that we all understand that riding is really hard, right? It's hard not only because we're trying to communicate and train a very unpredictable creature, but it's also hard to develop, like to have enough support to do it, not only financially, but also to have like that community. And we need that. So at this point in my career, I'm at a place that I'm able to start giving back more, which is really, really special and really cool, and something that I'm super excited about. So this year, one thing that we've done in our business is Nicole from my team helped me to start a grassroots giving campaign, where we have donated 56 workshops this year to different GMOs. So they do need to be nonprofits, but we've donated our workshops. Usually they get given away in silent auctions or at clinics. And that's a really great way that I'm able to spread some of this education, because like I just shared with you, these little boosts, these little grants or sponsorships or clinics that I got to participate in through my journey have made such a big difference and have gotten to me to be where I am today. And so through my programs and through my education and through my free content that I do, I'm trying to give that back, right? And I'm trying to help all of you along in your journey, whether it's a tip that you get from a video, or maybe you were lucky enough to get one of the workshops at the silent auction. But that's my mission. So here is the big announcement. I'm super passionate about helping kids in our sports. And I don't know about any of you that maybe you didn't get as much opportunity as you wish you had when you were a kid. We have a lot of riders now that maybe rode as a kid and then had to quit riding when they had their career and their family, and now they're back into it again. Apparently, those are called re-riders. Let us know if we have any re-riders here. Or perhaps some of you have always dreamed of riding and have always dreamed of having a horse, and you never got that opportunity until later in life, right? Until you had your career and you saved up the money, and now you're just finally able to afford horses. But I believe that for our sport and for the future of the sport, it's very, very important that we support our kids, because our kids are what have that vibrancy and that energy. And that really is where it's the easiest and the best to learn how to ride and to develop those skills and those horsemanship is with our kids. So a few years ago, I talked to the Dressage Foundation. The Dressage Foundation is the same foundation that gave me the grant to train Harvey. They have an amazing program, and they have a bunch of different grants, and they're a wonderful nonprofit organization. And I was like, hey, I want to do a grant for kids. Like, what would that entail? Like, I want to be able to help kids that are the kids, the kids that are out there, like cleaning stalls, working off their lessons, the kids that only get to ride once a week, or, that just work their butt off to be able to spend as much time as possible with horses. And I know that some of you are probably those kids that would just do anything to be able to ride and to spend time with horses. So basically, to establish a grant with the Dressage Foundation, it's a $50,000 seed fund. And I was like, okay, how can I make this happen? And so earlier this year, I had an anonymous donor come and seed that fund. So that means that we have an Amelia's Dressage for All Youth Fund, which is amazing. And basically, with this youth fund, we're going to be able to give away 5 $1,000 grants to kids. And the grant is going to be for kids for training or for clinics or for lessons if they're just riding lesson horses. And I'm so excited about it because I feel like for me, the little grants that I got along the way gave me that validation and that support and just the acknowledgement of like, we see you and we want to help you and keep working at it because we're here for you. So it's a huge thing. It's like, it means so much to me and it means so much to this community. And I know some of you are crying. I'm trying not to cry. But basically, the Dressage Foundation is going to make an announcement on Monday or Tuesday. And it is empowering the next generation of dressage riders. The Dressage Foundation is pleased to announce the creation of Amelia's Dressage for All Youth Fund, established by Amelia and friends who share her vision for a more inclusive and accessible sport. The new fund celebrates the passion, hard work, and determination of our young riders who dream big, no matter their background, breed of horse, or level of experience. It will provide 5 annual $1,000 grants beginning in 2026 to youth and young adult riders under 25. Grants can support lessons with their current trainers, clinics, or other learning opportunities that help strengthen their riding and horsemanship skills. So basically the way it works is we'll have the youth riders submit an application, and then there's a committee. My mom, Joellen's going to be on the committee. Lyndon Gray is going to be on the committee, which is awesome. Greta's going to be on the committee, who's a kid that I came up riding with. So we'll get a bunch of applications. We'll select the riders. They'll get 75% of the funds at the beginning. And then they have to submit a report of what they did with the money. And then they'll get the last 25% after that. I cannot wait to see the stories and to hear from our kids and to be able to support them. Let's see. Amelia shared, the future of dressage in the United States rests in the hands of our young riders. They are the heart of the sport, bringing passion, dedication, and fresh energy into every arena. Yet the journey of learning and growth in dressage requires consistent access to quality instruction, along with opportunities for inspiration beyond regular lesson programs. This grant is designed to provide that support, helping riders age 25 and under continue their training with their own trainers, while also opening doors to clinics and horsemanship experiences that can ignite new motivation, broaden their knowledge, and strengthen their connection to the sport. By investing in our youth, we are not only nurturing individual riders and hoping that they find a way to keep horses continuously in their lives, but also ensuring a bright and vibrant future of dressage in the U.S. So there you go. I want to thank all of you because your participation in this community and in these programs has helped to make this possible. I also would like to invite any of you to donate to the fund. So I'll have my team put the link in the chat, but there's a special page where you can go. The Dressage Foundation is a nonprofit. So it's a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you want to donate $5 or $10 or $1,000, I want you to be a part of this giving back to our community and helping the youth. And my goal is right now we're doing 5 grants each year. So that will start this spring. We'll be able to give 5 $1,000 grants. I would love to get that up to 10 per year, if not more. And then ultimately, one day I'd love to have a big training center and to be able to offer not only education for you, where maybe you could come in and take some lessons, but also bring up some youth and give our youth riders that opportunity to really grow and get the education. Because as you know, my mission is dressage for all. And I think that the more that we can spread good education and inclusivity and support and community, the better. And it's so important. It's so important that we continue in this cycle of learning, of giving back and helping one another and offering that encouragement. Because like I shared today, you never know when, someone giving you a compliment or someone helping you out a little bit along your journey can make such a big difference. It can be the difference between giving up completely and feeling totally hopeless, or going out there and keep going and keep trying. So, like I said, I'm grateful to all of you. I'm grateful to this community and the amazing thing that we've created. I'm grateful to the Dressage Foundation and also to my friends that have helped to make this grant possible. I'm excited to continue to grow the fund, because I think that that's really important as well, that we continue to donate to the fund. And then that way we're able to help more and more young riders along in their journey, to give them those lessons that they need and those opportunities that they need. And the grant, it really is specific it's based on merit and need, right? So we're going to try to pick the kids that are out there mucking the stalls, grooming the horses, just doing everything that they can do to spend the time and to get a little bit better with their riding. So that is our big announcement. I'm glad I didn't start crying, but it does mean a lot to me to have this opportunity. And we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the year ahead. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for being here. It's really meaningful that you took the time to listen to this today. I really appreciate that. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope to see you tomorrow for the Independent Seat webinar. If you're like me and you don't like shopping and you'd rather talk about horses, that would be fantastic. And we'll make sure to email out the information about the fund. I'm sure that you'll see the press release from the Dressage Foundation will be coming out next week, but we just wanted to give you a little bit of the insider scoop before it gets released to the public. And then it would be great if you are in a position and you would like to give back, please donate. But also know that all of the programs that you take and all of your participation in the community and sharing the videos and helping your friends, all of that helps as well. So it's not just about the money, but it's about the community and the education and the learning that we all share and the love of the sport. So happy Thanksgiving. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And yeah, kiss your horses, love on your family. It's so important.